If you're scrolling through endless specs and wondering whether the next big gaming PC will actually live up to the hype, you're not alone. Most of us have been burned by a machine that looked amazing on paper but turned out to be a money sink when you tried to actually play, stream, or just sit down for a weekend marathon. You want to know if this rig will really give you smooth 4K frames, keep your room quiet enough for a chat, and still feel like a solid investment for your budget. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Corsair Vengeance i8200 is marketed as a turnkey, high-end gaming beast, an Intel Core i9-14900KF paired with an RTX 5080, 64GB of DDR5 RGB memory, and a double 2TB NVMe setup. On the surface that sounds like a future-proof machine, but the real question is whether those headline numbers translate into tangible benefits for you, the gamer or creator sitting at the desk. I dug into a handful of community discussions, looked at how similar setups perform in real-world titles, and tried to separate the hype from the practical value. First, who should even consider this box? If you're a serious 4K gamer who wants to max out settings in titles like Cyberpunk 2077, Elden Ring, and Flight Simulator, or a content creator who streams at 1080p 60 while simultaneously editing 4K footage, the i8200's raw horsepower lines up with your needs. The liquid-cooled 14th-gen Intel chip means you can push the CPU for extended periods without throttling, useful when you're rendering video or running multiple virtual machines. That same cooling system also helps keep the fans from screaming while you're in a voice chat, a subtle comfort that many people overlook until they're sitting next to a whirring tower. On the flip side, if your primary gaming sessions stay at 1080p or you rarely go beyond medium settings, you're probably overpaying. The RTX 5080 is a flagship GPU designed for high-resolution, ray-traced workloads. Its advantage shrinks dramatically when you're not demanding that level of detail. Likewise, 64GB of DDR5 is impressive, but most games today don't tap even half of that memory. If you're not planning to use the PC for heavy multitasking or professional workloads, the extra RAM will sit idle, and the price premium for that capacity won't be justified. Now let's talk about practical strengths. The most obvious win is the dual 2TB NVMe drives. Those combined 4TB of ultra-fast storage mean you'll load massive game worlds in seconds and have plenty of room for large game libraries, media files, and projects. In real-world tests, users have reported load times dropping from 30-40 seconds to under 10 seconds for titles with heavy asset streaming, like Red Dead Redemption 2. That speed also translates to smoother editing timelines when you're working with 4K video, because the SSDs can keep up with the data flow without bottlenecking. Another tangible benefit is the integrated Corsair Dominator titanium RGB DDR5 memory. While the RGB lighting may feel like a vanity feature, the memory's subtiming kit actually delivers a few extra frames in sepia-bound scenarios. In practice, you'll notice that those extra frames show up most clearly during intense moments, say, a large crowd battle in Battlefield 2042 where the CPU has to keep up with the AI and physics calculations. In a live stream, those marginal frame gains can make the difference between a smooth broadcast and a momentary latch that spikes your viewers' drop-off rates. The liquid cooling solution is also more than just a visual statement. Users who've swapped this unit's cooler for an air-based one report that the temperature dips from the high 80°C down to the low 60s even after 3 hours of sustained gaming. That translates to less throttling, quieter operation, and a longer lifespan for the CPU. If you share a room with family members or roommates, a quieter tower can be a real courtesy that keeps the peace during late-night sessions. But every rose has its thorns. One hidden trade-off is the size and weight of the chassis. The i8200's black tower is substantial, over 30 kg, and its dimensions can squeeze into tight spaces. If you live in a small apartment or plan to move the system frequently, you might find it cumbersome. Some owners have mentioned that the front panel's design, while sleek, makes cable management a bit awkward, especially if you decide to add extra peripherals later. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's worth noting if you value a tidy workspace. Thermal performance, while generally strong, can become a concern under extreme overclocking. The liquid pump is quiet, but it does add a moving part that can fail over time. Corsair's warranty covers the whole system for 2 years, yet the coolant loop isn't a piece you can easily service yourself. If you're the type of user who likes to push every component to its limits and reseal the loop, you may find this a limitation compared to a custom water-cooled build where you can swap out blocks and radiators at will. Power consumption is another practical consideration. The i8200 draws close to 650 W under load, which means you'll need a quality 850 W.